Welcome from the Music City Center, Nashville, Tennessee. We're here at the EMS World Expo, the largest EMS dedicated event in the world. This is EMS World Presents Stories from Expo. Your story continues here.
Hello, we're here in Nashville at EMS World Expo. I'm Aaron, and we are at, this is EMS Garage and EMS World Expo podcast, kind of dual, getting it from both sides here. Paul Allen.
That's me.
That's right, that's you. He is here to talk about, you found some data that has to do with cardiac arrests and emergency medical dispatching?
Yes. Actually, I work for the North Carolina Office of EMS, and we do a lot of work with the data quality. We work with all the systems in North Carolina on the QA/QI process. And initially, I started this out as just a project to try to identify where some of the data quality issues are. Mm-hmm. And when we got to looking at EMD use in cardiac arrest with pre-arrival instructions, we noticed there was a huge gap in the documentation aspect of it from the clinicians when they document things in their PCRs.
Okay.
And the guys I had working with me on it, Sean Kay, Tony Fernandez from the EMS Performance Improvement Center, decided, they wanted to talk to me about turning this into a research project. Because what we're trying to do is improve the data quality that we are getting from EMS providers. And when we looked at the EMD and cardiac arrest, what we were finding out of a little over 10,000 calls in North Carolina, we had a little over 7,000 where they actually documented that EMD was notified or EMD had been done. But as far as documenting in the charts whether pre-arrival CPR was done, who it was done by, was not documented. So it leaves a large gap in the continuum of care. When we go back to look at first responders, your basic level squads, your ALS level squads, and in order for people that do EMS research on a full-time basis, it's hard for them to get this information. They pull 10,000 calls, they have to do away with a little over 3,000 of them. They're losing a lot of data, and that's where we get a lot of the information, where we start looking at basing our protocols, our policies, procedures.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's where all of this comes from, is gathering this data.
And so that's, and when I actually have been up in QI here for a number of months after 10 years on the street, and so I know exactly what you're talking about. Without proper documentation, it's impossible to get any sort of performance measures.
Yeah, and just to be able to, with your performance improvement, how you have to be able to identify where the needs are. And this right here is one of the needs. A lot of folks in North Carolina do EMS research. We have Duke University, UNC Chapel Hill, East Carolina University, where they have large medical schools that, we have access to a lot of things, but until we can improve our documentation on it.
So what's your solution?
The solution is myself, several other folks within the state office that work with me, several folks in the Performance Improvement Center. We're actually in the process now of putting together a data quality QA/QI project where we're actually going to take this out and present it to system administrators, medical directors, training officers, compliance officers within the systems and the agencies, and see if we can help them improve their data quality. I worked in the field for 23 years as a street medic, and I hated documentation. you know, I didn't mind writing out my narrative, but when it comes to checking all these little boxes, you know, you start taking shortcuts.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, say, well, this isn't very important. Just skip it, skip it, skip it. But
Oh yeah, you want to document
So-
that endotracheal tube you placed, you know, and
that I
yeah.
successfully placed.
Right, yeah, right.
First attempt. But you know, yeah, and that's what we're looking for. We want to improve the actual data that we're getting in,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
we'll be able to go out and start doing a lot more things when we start looking at protocols and, you know, different you know, new medical equipment that's coming out, things that we want to do. You know, we had to go through it with RSI. We're
Yeah,
going through it with ketamine. So, you know, we want to be able to get the good quality data to be able to come out and do some of these studies, and be able to successfully identify where the needs are in EMS, in the patient population that we're dealing with.
Now, do you have any pushback from, not pushback, or maybe roadblocks or speed bumps or whatever you want to call them from, say, operations personnel that say that have the mentality essentially of, yeah, it's documentation, but at least as long as we don't know our gaps, then we don't have to fix them, you know. So, or you know, like anything.
Now a
along
lot
those
of
lines?
the old school mentality
Yeah.
was there. You know, but we're seeing a lot of change in the leadership of EMS. A lot of, you know, what I consider to be the old school, you know, mentality. They're phasing out, and a lot of the younger people coming in, moving into the jobs, are a lot more interested in the research-based evidence to be able to show things. So I think now, not just on a state, but on the national level, you know, with this transition coming, this is an opportune time to get in and catch these new administrators, training officers, you know, directors, chiefs, and go in and work with them right on the front end. And, you know, in North Carolina where I work, we've been getting a lot of interest,
Yeah.
a lot of questions. You know, I've got a list of phone calls I have to make when I get back home to a lot of these people that actually have already called and asked me, can you come and sit
Sure.
down and work with me on this? And I think with that, I think we'll be able to, over the span of the next eight months to a year, we're going to be seeing a lot better data quality coming in, where, you know, we're able to look at this stuff, you know, using on the medications, you know, using the SNOMED codes or the RH
And when
norms.
you say 8 months or so, you're talking about better data quality on all fronts, not just say prior to arrival CPR. I mean, you're talking
Yeah, across the board.
across the entire EPCR.
Yeah,
All
and
right.
where this research project come in was, I picked something to say, well, let's look at this to see what the data quality looks like. So when I go out to work with these agencies, I actually have something I can put in front of them to show it. And now, you know, this research project that started out as just a data quality QA/QI project
Yep.
has actually made it to a national conference where it's gaining recognition.
And it
So
should.
it's hard to pass that up.
Yeah. Well, I think
So-
it's not. I don't think, and obviously I'm speaking completely anecdotally, but I don't think it's a South Carolina problem. You know, I think it's everywhere has problems.
It is, and I've talked to my counterparts in South Carolina, Virginia, even here in Tennessee. You know, they see the same. You see the same issues across the board.
Yeah.
So, and I imagine if we go all the way across the coast to the left coast, we're going to see the same thing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, I'm hoping that, you know, we'll be able to get this project off the ground, get it going, start to see a lot of good results, and and be able to push it out to other states. And
Well, when you get to that point, then give me a call.
well, when it gets to that point, y'all are going to be the ones helping me do it.
Oh, yeah, right on. All right, well,
So-
thank you for coming and talking with us here at the EMS World Podcast / EMS Garage Podcast. Anybody watching this online, stick around, peruse the page, watch our other videos, and yeah, for EMS World, I'm Aaron Goodson.